Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of, well, the show with no name. It's our weekly esports dose right here at hi-rez Studios. My name is Tom, or F-Dot, and I'm joined here by DM Brandon, Hindu Man, and Adonis is trying to get his mouse back.
Hindu keeps stealing it.
I just felt alone, you know?
It's Europeans.
I have fun on my stuff, at
I
least.
feel like Zapman at Latin. I can understand.
That was a great picture. So, cool stuff this week. We've already had Thursday in the books. I love to do this. So, Brandon, how are you?
Good. I'll be filling in for Scott Gandhi, who has the flu.
He has the flu?
He didn't say average. This is a big one. Every time on the cast. The honeymoon must have helped you out.
Oh, honeymoon was great.
Your hair doesn't look good.
Is Scott okay?
I know. Well, Scott has the flu. I don't know.
Like, is he sick? I don't...
That's what the flu usually means.
Oh.
So
I have no idea what they're
probably not
talking
going to
about.
see Scott Gandhi for like 6 or 7 days.
But anyway, so Thursday's already in the book, but Saturday and Sunday we do have games coming on. So why don't we take a look at them? Epsilon vs. Titan, Eager, Cloud9, and Legion of Carrots, and Team Solo Mid will be on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Kevin, why don't you tell us about the games on there?
Sunday, we're going to have Night's Watch take on Trig Esports, London Conspiracy take on Upcoming Stars, and then they're going to round out Week 5 with Denial Esports versus Enemy.
Yep, Enemy Esports a little on the bottom, but I think that Denial Esports is a mid-game team, should be able to, the good opponent for Enemy to be taken on in the middle of the season. So with Thursday down, the weekend forward, we'll take a look towards the European standings and see what we're looking at. And right on top, you see Fnatic 8-2. They dropped one to Upcoming Stars. Titan, Epsilon, London Conspiracy, Trig right down the middle. And then skipping towards the bottom, the Night's Watch have yet to win a game, but that might change.
That's true. I mean, they have a roster change coming, and it was pretty upsetting to me for at first. They were talking about how Game Hunter and Zindern left, and I was streaming when it happened.
Right.
Like, well, rip that team. Or sorry, no, I'm sorry, NQ.
Spoiled. Is that hard to get EU right? Like, please. God.
There's so many players.
All the same player. NQ, Repicos, Zindern, they're all the same guy. You don't know this?
Wait till I was to say this on the cast of Cyclone and Devious.
There's
I was just saying
real
guy
skill.
playing.
Or you can't pick those two.
What Brandon was trying to figure out how to say is that NQ is left along with Zindern, but they filled the hole.
That should have been ripped.
Yeah, it should have been.
But Game Hunter and Bowback.
Yeah.
That's a good way to plug a hole. So we'll see if they'll be able to lift themselves up. And North America also in a unique situation as a whole. Looking at the standings, we do have an undefeated team still in NA. Europe again not holding the standard up to North America. 8-0 for Cloud9.
We just have a closer region. That's all it is. Better competition, you know?
Going down the list, and then still again, Enemy Esports 0-8, just like Nox,
Just like you.
have yet to win a team, have yet to win a game. So both regions feature a team that has yet to win a game, unfortunately. But North America does have an undefeated team. So interesting stuff. We'll talk a little bit about North America a little bit later. Why don't we just get into it, Hinterman? Tell me about the Titan matchup.
I was very excited for this game. Honestly, when I first saw it, I was like 1-1. I voted 1-1. I'm not going to change.
Okay.
However, there's a big talking point. And that's Rafa is no longer going to be available for this game due to banter.
Banter? I thought it was ban.
Oh, yeah, ban. That's right, yeah. I added the TER. It's so natural for me to do that. I can't help
Just
it.
Europe.
Yeah, Rafa ran into a bit of problems, so he'll be banned as per the rules here. Pro players have to stand a mandatory 1-week ban. After that 1 week, they can appeal. We don't know how that's going to go or where it's going to go, but at the very least, this 1 week, he's gone.
But remember, you know, they do follow the same rules, right? They
Exactly.
go through the same, it's like 1 day and then 3 days and then a week and then 2 weeks. And when they hit that ban button, it said 2 weeks right out of the gate. So they must hold that. And this is kind of a make-or-break week for Epsilon. I mean, they're fighting for their land lives. They're going up against Titan, who's looking real strong right now. It's going to be difficult.
Well, Emilito also said, he tweeted out today saying, this is probably the biggest game we have, and we're not going to have Rafa.
Yeah.
And we've had to bring in a replacement support for this big game.
It's definitely a little bit rough, and with all that information, let's see, the fans at home, they know it. It's been on Reddit, it's been on the website. Let's see how they voted, and they know it, and it looks like they're going to go the way of Titan, taking both games, and, you know, overwhelmingly, that's the way I feel as well. I think adapting is really the playmaker of this Epsilon squad, but somebody said it yesterday, Rafa has a big part of the heart of this squad, and that really means a lot, so I think it's going to impact things, so I pick Titan.
Same thing. Raffer is the heart of the squad. He's the one who put the squad together. He knows them. Titan's going to take this 2-0 free.
I do mine week in, week out before I find this information out. I went 50-50, and I'm not going to change it.
All right.
I'm just going to go with what I said originally. I expected to go 50-50 without Rafa. More than likely, it's going to be Titan now.
I did the same. I went 50-50, and I'm going to stick true to it. And I actually think they can still take it out. I don't know who they're replacing. That's my big question mark. If it's someone who's solid, I think they still have a chance.
Mike. No, it's not.
That's eager. I have one main point for this.
Mike.
Epsilon is tied for 3rd, and they still haven't faced Nox or Dignitas.
That's true.
That is a good look. Of course, what Kevin's sort of talking about is Nox and Dignitas have been more the inconsistent teams. So going forward, this strength of schedule, if you will, some other games look at, is looking pretty good in the way of Epsilon. So this is a big game for them, but they might be able to recover a little bit in the weeks ahead. So should be very, very interesting. Across the pond, though, we have a very good highlight broadcast team right here. Cloud9 versus Team Eager. I really like these two teams. I just like to see them go. Kevin, what do you expect to see in this matchup?
I think Cloud9 is just the strongest team in North America right now. Debatably the strongest team in the world, and they've proven it. Once they 2-0'd TSM last week, that solidified, all right, they are the top, because they've struggled facing their sister team TSM for such a long time, and to finally come out and have 2 clean games against them, very good. Very good showing.
It is definitely a good direction to be in. Just swatting them down like that may be. But Eager looking very, very strong. They haven't. I feel the same way about Eager that I feel about Legion of Carrots, where their win-loss record doesn't really reflect how strong of a team this is. Going up against Cloud9 should be difficult, but what do you expect to see out of Eager specifically?
I'm going right back to Mike. He played amazingly the first time we
really
saw
did.
him. And, I mean, way to debut, right? You didn't win a game, sure, but going up against AFK and doing that well is nonsense. It's straight up bonkers. This guy was a challenger-level player before we saw him. Not a single person knew his name before that weekend.
I knew his name.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Hindu knew his name.
Wait, what about, I said, I knew him too.
Shut up, damn it.
I like Nantan.
But I think that Eager has potential here, specifically because of the duo lane. If Zap gets started, Zap makes plays. And Polar Bear Mike has the aggression to let him get started.
Yeah, I think Kevin really hit the nail on the head here. I think Cloud9 is definitely one of the stronger teams in the region, one of the stronger teams in the world. But Eager, if any team can really play spoiler to this that's not expected to, I think that Eager might be able to hold a pin in that direction. So should be a very, very interesting look. We'll see what the fans at home pick. We do know Eager is one of their favorites, but Cloud9 as well. And they go the blue and white instead of the blue and black. So Cloud9, the fan pick right here. Myself, I also chose Cloud9. I thought that this one could be a split, but I will go the way of Cloud9. I will go top card. I think that Cloud9 just a little too strong.
I think that Eager is getting there. I think that there's a chance for a 50-50, but I mean it's just got to be Cloud9.
It's heart versus head for me.
Hey,
Every single time.
exactly.
Heart versus head. Heart says Eager, but head's going to go Cloud9 because it's FP. When it involves FP, you got to go with your head.
Yep, gotta get those FP points. That's sort of like ATM machine, right? The P is points.
What's an ATM? A cash machine?
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know what he's doing.
I'm
either.
learning.
No, you know how people say automatic teller machine because it's ATM machine. It's like fantasy points, FP points.
Oh,
it's just a
No one.
I call them ATMs.
There's like 5 people that got you.
You're
You just stretched it. I said Cloud9 as well.
Fantasy points.
Cloud9 just a little bit too strong. Eager, they've grown, but I think they're going to have a hiccup transferring from Aurora to Polar Bear Mike, and
sure.
This isn't a good matchup for them on their second week with the new support.
Very, very true. I think that's really the driving home point. So here, holistically, right here at hi-rez Studios, and you guys at home, we put the money on the line, and it looks like Cloud9 is going to be the one to go. Now, we've got another one. I mentioned Legion before. They're going to be playing as well this week. They're going to be taking on Team Solo Mid, one of the teams that wound up here at the Spring Final Land. So a lot of powerhouse players on this team. Brandon, how do you feel about this one?
You know, we accidentally created a meme when I said that Eonic's heart wasn't in the poll.
Okay.
Right. What I actually meant is
Oh my God! Don't explain it. He's
No, I mean,
Let it go.
this is what it comes
Let
down.
it
No, this is what it
go.
comes down
Shovel.
to.
Let
Eonic's
it go.
heart, to me, isn't in this season. When we were at the Spring Fling, I pied Eonic. I brought him on camera, and I hit him in the face with a pie because I just wanted to see him smile. That's it. I wanted to see him really care about the community. It just seems to me like he's not having as much fun as he did in Season 1. In Season 1, if you said that someone was a better support than Eonic, you were actually
But maybe
lit.
that's because he's so focused now. Like he realizes it's gone
not
past
what- that's
fun.
not what
and
I
it's now
see.
business. It's now work.
That's not
you
what
know?
I see. I see him, at this point, seeing the game too much as work and not enough as passion. And I'm kind of, even Divio said that he's not feeling the game as much. I think that this is going to be a 2-0. I think that CSM's going to take it, and I don't think there's any universe in which Legion gets 2 wins here, but I definitely think there's enough chance for Legion to take one game and show how good they actually are that I'm leaning towards 50-50.
I'm going to come back to you when it's time to actually put your money where your mouth is. I'm going to let Kevin go ahead and talk now.
1 point is Ionic is not at home right now where he's been playing recently.
Where's he at?
I believe he's in Georgia staying with Jigs. I'm not 100% sure. So he's not in his comfort zone, and that might be something that you have noticed.
So he left his heart at home.
And Canada.
Where his heart is. His heart's not in
With
it.
Jeff Hindler.
I knew Ionic back in Season 1. I knew his habits, I knew how he played, and I know that he liked to smile at events and have a good time, and that's not what I've seen from him lately. It doesn't seem to me, and I'll take all the tweets you want to throw at me, that his heart is in it for Split 2.
Yeah, like, just smile to shut him up.
He has such pretty teeth, too. I have terrible teeth. I just want to see him smile.
I honestly lean the side of Hinderman. I see stoicism. I see. I respect what you're saying, Brendan. I really do, because emotions can impact the game. It has a very real impact on a player and a person. I see the other side of the coin, and I think it's very easy to sort of get both sides of this coin. What I see is
one more point. Then.
Go ahead.
One more point. Do you think the AFK roster now could have beaten Season 1 during the season TSM?
Season 1 during the season. I think after the changes that AFK have made, it's a possibility. I think it's a 50-50 shot.
What, AFK now to TSM Season 1? Is that what we're discussing? Yeah, they could.
I don't think they could.
What I see in Ionic personally, is a player that played very, very hard and did not win the championship last year and wants to put it all on the line to win this championship. Stoicism, head to the face, going in, that's it. That's what I see.
I'm seeing the kid that didn't win the championship, that wants it, but just is not hungry enough for it anymore. Maybe I'm wrong, and I would love to be wrong.
I know.
Because I love that kid.
Exactly.
I love him.
So I think we're really excited here. Hopefully, we'll see it. You know what? At the end of the day, it shows up in the win-loss column. We'll take a look what you guys at home think, TSM or Legion of Carrots. And it looks like TSM is going to be the pick for the fans. Now, here's the thing. I've just preached a lot about Team Solo Mid. I've preached a lot about their Guardian. It's no secret that I really like Ionic, and I think he's one of the better players. I went 50-50.
Oh.
Wow.
I think that Team Solo Mid...
Have you gone 50-50 on every Legion game? I'm pretty sure you have.
Yes.
They either win or the 50-50.
Well,
DJ Pernicus is a good-looking dude, but you need to stop.
Here's what I think about Legion of Carrots, and Kevin pointed out a great stat for me personally. I think Legion of Carrots is a very strong team, much like Eager. I don't think their win-loss column really reflects how strong they are, and I think that they're more apt to win the first game than the second game. When Legion of Carrots goes up against one of the more difficult teams, I think that they can bring it real fast, and then the more difficult teams adapt and adjust. That's why the top-tier teams are the top-tier teams, because Smite is a game about adaptation. I think Legion of Carrots can come out of the bank and take that first game, but the stronger teams will adapt and overcome. So I have 50-50 for a lot of this team, and I think even TSM, as strong as they are, I think DJ Pernicus and the squad can take the first one. I don't expect them to take a second.
At the beginning of the season, Divios was just better than everybody. That's just how it was. He made every single solo laner step their game up to a point where I didn't think that anyone could compete with him. Cyclone obviously proved us wrong. With that, Salt Machine, whoever they want to run, whether it's Plaid Girl, Salt Machine, they could have a sub in. The North American solo laners are unbelievably strong right now. And with that, I don't think they have that to fall back on. It could be a 50-50 for me, because I don't know if Divios is going to have the same level of strength that he normally does. And I'm expecting DJ Pernicus to really catch Boosh off guard.
You guys just live in dream worlds. Dream worlds. TSM, they'll take it 2-0. I like Legion of Carrots. I followed them through Challenger Cup. They did great. Finished second and first 1 week. But then they finished second. They did a great performance. However, no, you dream world. Dream world, boys.
I'm with Hindu. It's going to be a 2-0. Clean sweep for TSM.
Probably.
Legion, I think Legion will have good early game. They actually had very good early game against Cloud9. They took the lead first blood in both matches, but they weren't able to close out. And I think it's going to be the same with TSM. They have a chance to win early. I don't think they will, but even if they do, they're not going to be able to tough it out the entire match.
Cloud9's late game is better than TSM's, though. Worlds prove that.
Yes, I agree.
But we're not following Cloud9. It's Legion of Carrots.
But I'm saying he's just said that they won the early game against C9, but they couldn't take the end game.
TSM 2-0.
It's been a
TSM 2-0.
I think so. I think it probably will be, but my heart this time is 50-50.
Your heart's lying it.
Is it?
Is that what it is?
My heart is too much in it.
Here's the thing. Is that what it is in game?
He gave half his heart to Ionic, so Ionic could hit a full-hearted pool.
I'm done with all these fractions and mathematics. Let's go on to trigonometry. Trig versus the Night's Watch. Y'all loved it.
You're disgusting.
Trig versus the Night's Watch is the next match that we're going to be talking
Even
about.
Production is yelling at him.
Night's Watch, again, the big big story. This is my game to watch. Now, it's important to say, if it wasn't this week, it would not be. But the switches on the roster are such a big deal. Like Brandon said earlier, they dropped some of their more high-profile players, Zindern, but more notably, the solo laner, NQ. Going back to the launch tournament, the conversation of best solos in the world were always NQ, Game Hunter, Zelia, just incredible stuff from what we've seen out of him this season.
Like
incredible stuff. But they replaced him with Game Hunter. And, I mean, I know how you feel about Ninja Bobat. Ninja Bobat will be taking over the jungle role.
Bobat's the GOAT, man. Like, he came out of nowhere and just won everything. Everything he touched turned to gold. My only issue here is going to be chemistry.
Of course.
Whoa, stop on chemistry, because who's the mid laner on Night's Watch?
I mean, I understand that, but there's...
Those guys, Carino and Ninja Bobat, played
Team Coast
Boys.
I understand that.
They know each other.
It's two people.
Wait. And who's the hunter? Is that 3 people at the end?
And
I think that's 3.
I'm sorry, and how did they fare last season?
What, Coast? Rip Coast.
No, I don't remember Coast.
Wasn't even there last season.
Team Toast.
Team Toast. They were gone.
So it's interesting. That's actually a huge point. A lot of times during mid-season, you'll see teams do roster swaps a lot. Like we were talking about with Eager, Polar Bear Mike, great fit for the team, but things don't always just fit. Sometimes you need some time to work through it. That might be a little easier this time around since 3 of these members have been on the same team before.
It is easier, but let's go to the other side of this coin. It's Trig. Right. Trig just got off the back of beating Titan 2-0 after a poor start to the season for them. They look strong.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the
most... against
most...
Night's Watch, who are 0-8 right now, I expect, quite simply, for that to happen.
You know, we talk a lot about having your heart in the game and sort of the negative side of not having... What we saw last week from Trig is the opposite. When you are just so mad. You're so mad. Well, I can't believe we lost to this guy. I can't believe we lost to that guy. What's our win-loss? Zimstar screamed at them a little bit. They screamed at themselves, and they came out swinging last week against Titan. A lot of people thought that was going to go the other way. Trig is going to be very scary this week.
I agree 100%. I mean, we are back to the point where Lobster really wants it.
Oh, yeah.
And if Lobster is hungry for the win, the other team loses. That's just what it is to me. Lobster, for me, is the best player in Europe. He has always been the best player in Europe to me. Wow. Ever since I played this game on a tournament standard, the only team we lost to was the team that had Lobster on it. No matter which team he was on, he walked through us like a hot knife through butter.
Just,
oh my god!
I like the Reels quote. I like the Reels quote. Adonis, do you have any input on what we to expect? Who's the hunter on one of these teams?
Is it Moex?
Right. Do you have anything to say specifically about Moex since
has
you
like
never
8
do?
hearts, so even if he like loses half a heart, he's still got another 7.5. But Moex is amazing. Game Hunter's coming back, but I don't think Game Hunter is on NQ's level. He took a long break from Smite. He's been about a month back, maybe. Yeah. It's from what I've seen, he's still kind of playing like it's season 1. We're seeing a lot of Lokis, a lot of Hamanas, and not that those gods can't work, but OP, he seems like he's playing gods that he's more comfortable with, that he ended playing with back from after launch.
He doesn't know the matchup still. That's what happened at the end.
Yeah.
Before Game Hunter left, he lost his matchup knowledge. And that's one of the things that the boys at Trig, formerly TSM, were saying was like, he's not on the same par as he was. He's now back. He's learning those matchups again, relearning from the start to an extent because Season 2. And now he's starting to find his rhythm. I don't think he's ready yet, though.
That's one of the big things. You know, I ran a stream the other day talking about the player analysis, and one of the big things is keeping up with the meta. It's not always about whether they like the meta or not. It's the fact that the meta is changing, and having to relearn the game every few months because someone figured out some nonsense that works better, it's tiring.
Right.
It's extremely tiring. And we look towards, you know, I always bring up Super Smash Bros. Melee. The game's been out for like 15 years, and the tier list is still changing. The game is still evolving. And in a game where we patch and we buff and we nerf a lot, it's very hard to adapt. So when Game Hunter got tired of adapting, and now that he's coming back, and I agree, it's going to be hard for him to keep up with every single matchup, especially with how janky things are in the solo lane.
Adapting's on Epsilon.
I thought the same thing.
This is where I get on my soapbox about coaches. You know, we take a look at coaches like Zimstar, who's known to be very, very like a motherly figure. We take a look at coaches like Kret, who's known to be like sort of a calculator, lots of numbers. Sometimes you don't really need all that, but just having that 6th person in your corner saying like, look, here's the new god, these are the matchups, know it, so you don't have to do the homework, and instead you can focus on doing your mechanics and your combos. That can help a lot. So I implore teams out there, go ahead and get a coach. You don't need a coach that does, you know, a notebook full of stats. Sometimes all you need is somebody saying, this is the matchup, know it.
That's why Titan does best, because they have someone doing calculations, and probably the best calculations, period, because he applies it to his team's playstyle, and they have the mother with Captain Coach, making sure that he's managing the team properly, keeping that positive energy going. That's why Titan is so successful. Do they have the best individual skill? Absolutely not, but their teamwork is incredible, and their staff behind them is a support network that a team needs.
I always call Titan Voltron, but we're still on the Trig versus Nox conversation, so let's see what you guys at home went ahead and picked, and it looks like you guys went the way of Trig.
I can't believe
the
it.
little smiley face, the little half smiley face. That's actually, so it's going to be Trig going that way. I like it. I also picked Trig. I picked Trig 2-0 this time, no split for me. I do expect to see Nox perform at a higher level than we've used to, but I'm not sure if it's high enough to take the win.
I took a 2-0 in Trig. Easy peasy. And I'm really excited to see if Hindu Man, after all that's going to call it 50-50.
It is going to be Trig win. I would have voted Trig if the teams stayed the same, if the composition stayed the same of Night's Watch before this. I still would have gone Trig 2-0. Now with the changes, it's just an extra reason to make it 2-0.
Mox wins my heart, but Trig wins the game.
Oh.
Mox is amazing. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's my analysis for Night's Watch.
He's okay. Supposed to make him look good. I've lain with him.
Did you say okay?
Just make him look good.
Get off the desk. Get off the desk. Hindu,
No.
go back to Europe.
What is it?
Not already.
This is Europe.
I did not ask to be included in this fan club of any sort. No fist bumps.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is my desk. No fist. Take it back. Thank you. Thank you. So that's going to be an interesting one. We have some other games on the docket for Sunday, so should be a great weekend going forward. We talked a little bit about the games on Saturday. The Night's Watch versus Trig should be fun. Really cool roster swaps. So we've got London Conspiracy and Upcoming Stars, two teams that have been, well, London Conspiracy has been statistically better than Upcoming Stars, but I think the trend of Stars has been up, while LC has been a little bit stagnant.
Hindu.
I wouldn't necessarily class LC as being stagnant.
Okay.
I think overall LC have performed very well, above expectations of a lot of people.
I agree with that a lot.
Is the big key there. People may think they're stagnant now, but at the start of the season, it's done wonders for them how well they've played at the consistent level they did. They've taken games off some of the big teams that they weren't expected to. And now maybe people are starting to think that they're not as good as before, but they're actually still better than what a lot of people thought about them. Upcoming Stars as well, across the other side of it, I expected them to be bottom of the shop, and right now they're not. They've taken games off big teams.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch these two teams. I'm 100% with you. Not just Upcoming Stars, which is the easy one. You look at the roster, and you might not be familiar with a lot of these players, but they've really risen to the occasion. London Conspiracy has done the exact same thing. Look at the roster, and they've risen above their occasion. So this should be a really close one. This was honestly the toughest one this week, in my personal opinion, to call. This is the one that I'm gambling the most on my FP for. We're going to hold the picks in just a second. I want to see what everyone else has to say about this one.
For me, this one is probably the one that should be the 50-50, right? Because, like you said, Upcoming Stars are trending upwards.
Yep.
London is kind of trending upwards, but for
at
most
a slower
people,
pace.
we're kind of seeing them start to level out. You know, they're kind of falling into where, you know, Smite's matchmaking would put them at the almost 50% win ratio, right? This is what I think a lot of people expected from this season, you know, from a lineup that includes Suntouch. I mean, this is what Suntouch has always done. He's trended up until he hit a point, and then he plateaus. But if he can stick around that third, fourth place, you know, as we get farther, that's not going to be a bad place to stick around until lands start.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I usually have the same thing to say about Suntouch as you. Very good role player for a team. This season, though, I personally feel like Suntouch has risen. I hate to say risen to the occasion, but that's exactly what these rosters have been doing, and that's exactly what he's doing. It's not a cliche if it actually fits. Suntouch has been playing up to the teams that he's been playing against, and I think this season is one of the best seasons that Suntouch has had playing Smite in his long career of playing.
Well, this is the Moneyball team, right? Raffer has said multiple times that he put this team together of people who don't know how to play as a team. They are the most mechanically sound players, and he's going to teach them to play. At this point, he's definitely getting there, but I always look to Emilito because this guy, and I hate to be super negative, is kind of a choke artist. You know, this is the guy that we looked at for when Cloud9 dropped the big win against Titan. Titan went to Worlds because Emilito was out of position, right? I mean, Emilito needs to listen to the team as much as possible, and if he can become a team player, this could actually really wind up in their favor.
Very exciting, very exciting. Little points to make the bigger picture. We'll see what you guys at home went ahead and picked. Can the community pick 50-50? I'm not too sure. That's where all of our analysts seem to be sitting. LC, though, is where the community went.
That's EU community.
Suntouch definitely a favorite.
Suntouch boys.
Suntouch definitely a favorite for good reason. Definitely a good homie at home to go ahead and watch on stream, both casually and negative. You know, he wore like an Aladdin. Was it Aladdin? No.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers cosplay.
What?
For one of his
actually great.
sub-goals. It was hilarious.
It was amazing.
I woke up early to watch that.
You
It was really funny. So my pick, I went 50-50 as well. I think that this team is, I think it's a little rough.
Lies.
You're right, I did.
Lies.
I went on a conspiracy. I wasted my 50-50 on Legion, and you know what? I want the Kukulkan skin. I'm gonna sell out.
This is the one that should have been 50-50. Upcoming
agree.
Stars versus London trends to 50-50, but I picked LC.
It's just it's really, you know what it is. My analysis before with the team Legion Carrots that I did the 50-50, I had a reason. I said, Legion, you're going to come out of the gates. I don't have one for this one. London Conspiracy and Upcoming Stars are both very good. It's hard to pick who's going to win
What are you
first.
shaking your head at?
Because you don't start with your mouth. Oh, yeah, we should pick 50-50, but I'm going to go on a conspiracy.
Both of them. Both of them.
50-50. That's what I'm going. That's what I voted for. You'll see it on your screen now.
I'm with Hindu. You make your analysis point for what you picked. 2-0 LC. I think people
My
are.
heart's not in it.
I think you guys are really downplaying how strong LC is, and not
possible.
that you're upplaying Upcoming Stars, but I understand in the point that I think LC has one more step to go where they can close out against team like Stars and Dignitas clean, and they may not be that team, but I think 9 times out of 10 they're going to 2-0 this.
Yeah, it's rough, and
I promise Upcoming Stars I'd vote for them once, because they're like, are you ever going to vote for us? I'm like, I'll find a game.
You didn't even vote for them.
Like,
You kind of gave them half.
I
of
think
a
it
vote.
won, right?
They got half a one.
It's better than none.
well, we know who's going to wind up in the banter cab this week. It's going to be Hindu on his own show,
Well.
the Banter Cab, and there's going to be one more North American matchup. It's going to be Denial Esports versus Just Enemy. No longer Enemy Esports, just Enemy. They're the enemy.
Nox is 0-8 right now, but I have felt from the beginning that they always have potential to win the games.
Agreed.
I have not felt the same about Enemy. We have not seen enough from that squad to warrant saying that they are going to be able to take games in this split.
I think the problem with Enemy, I say it every single week. I didn't love the roster on paper. Watching them play, I have seen a higher skill level than I expected. Jerby has outperformed my expectations.
I mean, it's singular individual skill, though. He's a ranked player. It plays like it's ranked.
And the problem. I can't say that the problem is on the team itself. You take a look at some other teams in the past, and it's just been lack of communication or whatnot. Unfortunately, much like Thirst from last season, Season 1, they just haven't had the opportunity to have a consistent lineup. They've lost so many members. They've swapped so many members that it's just really tough to get that going.
They're a seasoned team, though, Enemy, but I don't think this season is going to be great for them.
No.
If they can just stay, in the main aim for them should be go to relegations, which is kind of obvious at this stage.
Of course.
0-8. But then if they can get through relegations, come back again next season, they can do what Stars did this season round.
But they lost Soulshiner.
That's true.
And Soulshiner, to me, was the star of that team.
I'm now looking towards Matty Pocket. I think they need another.
But then Titan never had Stars. They were a collective unit of players.
That's
and they
very true.
performed very, very well.
I agree, but this team has no way and ever exhibited that they have the teamwork of Titan. Or even
Yet.
2 tiers below.
Yet.
I want to touch on Denial, really, and how important, maybe not this series, but their final 3 series are. They're currently tied with TSM for 3rd. They have the potential to go to LAN, and this is going to be a pretty true test. I think Denial needs to clean sweep. They do not want a tough game. They want a two games, 25 minutes or less, where it is undeniably they are better, because they're closing out their season with AFK and TSM. They are truly going to be tested on if they deserve to go to LAN and just not sneaking by. So I think Denial Esports clean sweeping here is really important for them.
Yeah, I think the conversation here is less about who wins, but more about how they win.
Sure.
As you said, Denial really looking to make a statement, and I think that they're ready to make that statement. I think that the last couple of times that we've seen Xing play, it's been different than Game 1 and Game 2. We're sitting here in week number 5, and week 4 Xing was very different than week 1 Xing.
I think the first half of their season being relatively weaker, considering they didn't face AFK or TSM, was to their benefit. And now, have they taken their easy schedule or their easier schedule and really grown from that to be a team that can contend for LAN?
Strength of schedule, huge part.
We should also talk about Denial's roster swap, right? I mean, they lost Best, who was, a lot of people thought was the heart of the team, just like Aurora and Eager was a really big part of that team. Polar Bear Mike filled in very well, and Baskin is absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
and that is from a solo laner. A solo laner who is very critical. I think Baskin has one of
critical?
I never would have guessed.
Are you critical?
I think Baskin is one of the best solo laners,
deaths?
period.
Wow, that's
Period.
a big one.
15
And going the way of the community, it looks like
Yeah,
they.
I think like 6 of those were because my duo lane.
15
minutes?
15 minutes.
I think the community
Segue.
agrees with DM
13
Brandon going
was
ahead
15.
praising the solo lane. Denial Esports going the way of the community. I, as well, pick the 2-0 for Denial. I think that they're just a very, very strong team at this moment in Enemy Esports. I don't think that they are a terrible team. I think that they just need more time together.
I am picking Denial. I disagree. I think that the roster needs less time together in terms of Enemy. I think there should be swaps made because after this many weeks, we're not seeing any chemistry. Matty Pocket got a pull and Jerby threw the Outwash ult in the wrong direction. That seems to me like they are not talking to each other at all. Denial takes this total game time 30 minutes.
Wow.
Denial for me as well. I mean, the game that we saw Enemy play against COG last week, last week, they played really well. I felt there were signs of life there, but I don't think there's going to be enough signs for them to take the game against Denial at all.
That's the thing about Enemy. They've had signs of life all season. It's always in one game and for the first 15 minutes, and then just everything falls apart, and it's going to continue that trend. Denial 2-0. I have one last point to make because I know we're about to finish off. Cloud9 can actually qualify for LAN this week if they 2-0 Eager and TSM drops one game.
Very, 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 very big. So one more time. That's a little more complicated. So TSM needs to win a single game.
No. TSM has to lose a game, and Cloud9 has to win both their games versus Eager, and they'll qualify for LAN.
How many games are in a set?
2.
I mean,
So
technically
if
2. But
so if Team Solo Mid loses one, they win one, right?
right, but
Yeah.
So TSM needs to. I got you.
They need to
Math.
lose one.
Not
It's all
needs,
good.
must.
So Cloud9, like you said, big take home. Big take home is Cloud9 can actually qualify for LAN in week 5 of a 7-week split. That just goes to show how strong they are. Still undefeated. It's up to them and their opponents to see if they will stay that way. That's going to be it for us here on the Pick'em Show. Don't forget, every single Friday here at 4:00 p.m. we do our unnamed esports show. So for Kevin, Hindu Man, Brandon, and everybody back there, I say goodbye. But to Bart, I say hello.
Hi, thanks, Tom.